Micah was talking about how he feels like he gets no respect or he's disrespected, and then eventually it led on that sometimes you got to go into a dark place and come up with stuff. But I guess the question is, do all the great players find something for motivation?
I think all great players are motivated. I'd like to know who in their right mind would disrespect Micah Parsons.
That's what I told him.
I mean, that's a whole other story. But yeah, I think a lot of good coaches and good players go into a dark place on game day and do whatever it takes to win the game. So I'm sure he finds a really good one to get into because it seems to be working for him really well. But I don't know how anybody could disrespect him at all, the way he plays the game. And it's not just the production and the sacks, it's just the way he plays the game, how hard he plays it, the knowledge that he has for the game. But I hope he goes into a really dark place on Sunday. So I'm excited to see that.
Hey Jeff, Micah said in Detroit that Wyatt is a player that can't be replaced. So I'll ask you, how do you replace him?
You don't really replace a player like Wyatt, especially with how good he was playing. And sadly, that was probably the best game that he was playing, and it was really, I believe, the last play of our game on defense, which is really unfortunate. I mean, he had the 2 sacks prior to that game and was playing really well in this game, really good against the run. I know Micah likes rushing with him a lot because he's a good pocket push guy and he can finish plays. It's really sad what happened, and that's football. It's why you can't take for granted, being out there every snap, giving it everything you have. I love the guy, and, we wish him a fast recovery, and, we're hopeful he'll be back for OTAs and be ready to go again. But, it's just like we've done all year, like he was out earlier in the season. Those young guys, they stepped up, and they're going to have to step up again. I mean, we're going to play a bunch of teams down the stretch that are going to run the ball. But when you get guys like Brinson and Stackhouse, who are the younger guys that have forced to play and develop probably sooner, right? They've gotten those game reps, and they'll be ready to go. And I think Carl and Colby have played really, really well this year, so we're going to rely on them more. So it's going to be all 4 of those guys, and we'll find a way to get it done.
Was Micah's sack on that play? It looked like an inside stunt the way it turned out. Was that improvised, or was that designed for him to bend it inside like that?
Without giving away too much, it was partially designed. Yeah. Micah, most of the stuff Micah does, there's some stuff that he does based on instincts, but a lot of what Micah does too is planned.
I just asked because it seemed like he engaged the edge first and then came around. So
and a lot of times that could happen.
With Brinson specifically, the last couple of games, he's gotten more opportunities. What is he showing you? What have you seen from him?
I think it's his practice habits. I thought even this week it's probably been his best week of practice. I think you get a guy who played a little bit earlier and then hadn't played as much and had another opportunity and took advantage of it. He's starting to understand the speed of the game. Just his fundamentals and technique have gotten better. He's starting to strain more. He's starting to get off blocks and tear off blocks. He's got really good pass rush ability. For a big guy, he's elusive, he's got good hips, and he's quick, and he can finish. And I think you'll see that. And now I just think in the run game, he's starting to understand that he's got to do his job every play, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be dirty and grimy. And I think he's starting to embrace that a little bit more. But, we're going to need him down in this stretch now.
Jeff, I know Quay is on his way back, but what'd you think of what McDuffie gave you when Quay was out?
Yeah, I mean, McDuffie was outstanding in those 2 games that he played Mike linebacker. One, I think the communication and the ability to take the call for myself and get the guys lined up and make adjustments, with him throughout the game. And, on the 3rd down stop that we had, we were in a call, and they came out in a set, and he slid the front. Like, it was almost like I was up in the booth, like, slide the front, slide the front, slide the front. But I could no longer get to him on the green dot. And as I was saying that, he slid the front, and I was like, he got it, which I think was a big step for him. And I think that gives you a small example of what he's been able to do at a hard position to play mentally fairly quickly. And then nothing else surprises me. I mean, the guy's as tough as they come. He's going to give everything he has on every single play for his teammates and for his coaches and for the Green Bay Packers. And he's physical, and he knocks guys backward, and he's solid in the run game. And he's just a fighter. So I love the guy. I think he's got the respect of every person in this organization, and he's going to continue to play a lot of football for us.
Hey, Jeff, you know how head coaches are in this league? They rarely say anything inflammatory about each other. So what did you make of it when Ben Johnson said what he said at his introductory press conference? Did you take that as a poke at the coaching staff as a whole?
I don't think too much into it. Introductory press conferences, at times you're trying to win the press conference, at times things come out maybe one way or the other, but I don't look into that stuff very much, honestly. I'll leave that between those two, and we'll figure it out on Sunday.
With Bullard popping up on the injury report, not practicing today, I was thinking back. It's like, I mean, he hasn't given up much of anything in the last several weeks. What have you just thought about what he's done
Bull?
this year? Yeah, one year too jump.
I think Bull is one of our most valuable players. You want to talk about another guy who's similar to McDuffie, who just his physicality in the run game, his toughness, his details. I mean, he was rerouting and hitting guys on Thanksgiving all over the field. And time again, he gets guys down, he makes plays. He's in some tough assignments and coverage that he's been put into. He goes back and plays safety. But I think the world of the guy. He's hard to take off the field. I believe someone was asking the other day, why do you put him here? Why do you put him there? Because, he's a guy that really deserves never to come off the field. So we got to continue to find ways to use him. But he's a good blitzer. But he just, if you get guys like Bull, you're going to win. I mean, he loves football. He loves playing the game. He loves practicing the game. He loves the physicality. He don't say anything. And it just, again, and he's only a second-year player. That's what the coolest thing is about him. He's still young, and he's just going to continue to get better and better. So I'm excited to see what he can do down this stretch. We'll see where he's at for this week. But I love the guy.
Jeff, Hobbs has been able to practice for about a week and a half or so, and what are you wanting to see from him if he is able to play, especially after missing a handful of games?
Yeah, just confidence. I want him. It's very important for me, as a coach. I want the players to be confident in their ability to go out and play. And dealing with his injury, we want to see him have the confidence in himself where he can go and have success. And I think he's really close to that point. I think he's had a really good week of practice. Today might have been his best practice. And I can just see the confidence, building. And sometimes when you have an injury and you don't quite feel like you're ready to go, you're probably a little less confident, and you have to play the game that way. So, we'll see where he finishes this week, but we're going to need him. He's a guy that, we were counting on coming into the season, and he's really been injured for a major part of the year. But we're going to need him down in this stretch. I like where he's at.
Sorry, Jeff. Would you consider moving him back inside where he's played in the past?
Yeah, I'd consider moving him around. Like I said, I think that was the plan throughout when we first got him, from OTAs until training camp, and the plan was to be able to move him inside and outside, and I think he gives us a really big asset based on matchups, based on down and distance, based on call, based on what type of game it is. I just think he gives us a versatile player who can go inside. But I'm also confident that when he is healthy and he's confident in himself, I think he can play both.
Jeff, what do you make of what the Bears did with their running game against Philly? So many of those yards came between the tackles. Your guys' run numbers are really good. I know there were a couple games it wasn't where you wanted it to be, but what do you make of that challenge this week?
Yeah, it will be a challenge. One, I think it starts with their offensive line. I think they're playing really well. I think their offensive line coach has done a really good job. They've gotten better each week. They've kind of mixed and matched some people, and I think they have a good understanding of who they are and where they're at right now. And then they have two really good backs who are really good complement to one another. You combine that with a good scheme, and I think Ben does a good job. I mean, he's constantly looking for ways to motion you and shift you and create angles and create leverage, and you have to be really sound and you have to be really disciplined to play this run game. You can't run up the field. You can't jump out of a gap. You can't pass rush on a rundown. You have to be disciplined. You have to leverage the football. You have to get off blocks. You have to stay square. And I think if you're not, that's what you see. You see the ball, they like to run stretch, right? So it starts out wide, and then they look to kind of cut it back one gap at a time, and they're disciplined staying on their tracks and doing that. And just imagine if that guy's looking for one gap at a time, and he sees somebody out of a gap, and he gets vertical, he's gone. And they're coached well, and they're good players. So I think it's a combination of scheme, coaching, players, and they've been successful at it. I don't think it was just the Eagles game. I think they've run the ball pretty consistent all year. They ran the ball a lot in that game, and they had success doing it. So I'd anticipate the same thing going into our game.
Does it help that you just faced Gibbs and Montgomery in a similar system?
Oh, yeah. Gibbs, every time that guy gets the ball, it's, he starts here, and you guys saw it. It's like a punt return on every play. You never know where he's going to wind up. And that took a lot of strain, and it took a lot of effort, and it took, all 11 guys running to the ball to play as well as we did against Gibbs last week. I think he only had about 60-something yards on his 20 carries, which is an unbelievable day against the guy right now who might be the premier back in the league. So can we go do it again against two more good backs, a good offensive line, and a similar scheme in some regards? So sure, that helps. It should help with the guy's confidence, but that's over. So can you do it again, right? And that's going to be the whole key. There needs to be consistency, and it will be a challenge because it's not just their run game. It's they do a really good job of mixing up the run game and the play action pass game. They got good tight ends, multiple tight ends who are good players. I think the rookie has done a really nice job this year, and they seem to really like getting him the ball. The receivers are good players, and they'll block and do the little things, very similar to the group that we just saw in those terms. And then the quarterback. The quarterback has gotten better. He's taking care of the football. He can make the throws, and he's going to be a challenge in the pocket. He's strong. He's hard to tackle. He's like, he makes guys miss back there. So this is a good team, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to go out and play them on Sunday.
Jeff, what's the coaching point for CV, or do you not really need to for that? The play where he should have made the tackle, and obviously the guy gets loose.
Yeah, we had it dialed up. They threw a screen right into a trap corner. It's keep your eyes up. It's put your shoulder pad through his sternum, wrap up, squeeze, drive for 5. It's all the fundamentals of tackling. Anytime you just kind of lower your head and duck your shoulder and try to take a shot on a guy, it usually doesn't end up too well. So we got to keep coaching it with him, and he certainly would tell you the same thing. And it's just one of those plays, and we certainly got to do it better, and I'm confident next time we'll make it.
Speaking of coaching points on the illegal contact penalty on Keyshawn, what's he supposed to do there?
I don't know. What do you think he's supposed to do there? That's one of those bang bang
nonsense penalty, but I don't know the rules.
Yeah, by the letter of the law, you can't contact the guy down the field. So he's got to play with his eyes and his feet and play with great leverage and drive the route when the route breaks. That was unfortunate. It was third and 15, and we get a sack, and at that point it's a 10-point game, and that led to 3 points. So we can't foul on third down. That's really important. We've had a couple of those, and those are just, we can't foul on third down. So we'll keep coaching them better, and hopefully we won't have any more of those going forward.
Is that a play to send to the league?
I don't know. Leave it up. You can ask Matt that question tomorrow. I'll just keep coaching it. Go ahead.
Speaking of tackling, you had a lot of nice things to say about Evan last time we talked.
Yeah.
Is tackling the area he was telling me, what is it, Big Bertha or Big Betsy or whatever?
The big bag out there.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Is that where you've seen him make a meaningful jump, or where are the
In
jumps?
tackling, it is where he's made the biggest jump. And I think Ryan and DA have done a really good job there. I think part of his issue last year is his head would go down, he'd duck his head, and he'd put himself in some difficult situations to tackle, and then truthfully, he'd put himself into some dangerous situations. Because us as coaches, it's one thing to miss a tackle, it's another thing to put your head down and put yourself in jeopardy to hurt yourself. So we take that really serious, so we've been working really hard with him. And then I think he's kind of really focused on that and brought attention to keeping his head up, wrapping people up. I just think his instincts and his ability to get to the ball and find the ball and insert in different places have allowed him to play really well. I think right now too, you know, again, you talk about our safety play and the disguises. And one guy who kind of goes unnoticed in that game, again, is X. I mean, the little things that he's doing right now and allowing us to do on defense with the way he's moving around, communicating, disguising, even in the run game, which not everybody sees. I mean, it opens up so much for us to do on defense. So to have those two back there right now, I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Jeff, speaking of that, when Evan was kind of up sort of towards the last scrimmage, and then he bolted back on that one that ended up being Tisla's touchdown. Jamison Williams is running that outside route.
Oh, the two crossers?
Yeah. So he kind of bends that route outside. Was that the surprise part about it?
No,
Is there anything Evan could do in that situation?
Yeah, that was one where they got two guys on a route. We got four in coverage, and that should be a double-double, and it just was unfortunate the way it played out.